Hello there. Welcome to part 2 of A Conspiracy of Mages, solo play for The Dark Eye. I'm Robert Adducci. I'm the social media manager for Ulysses Spila International, the North American side, or the international side, I guess. So today we are playing, as I said, part 2 of Conspiracy of Mages. It's a solo adventure for The Dark Eye. The cool thing about this adventure is it has everything you need to play. You don't need the core book. Although you can get the core book, this adventure, Conspiracy of Mages, and the other English solo adventure we have, Vampire of Havana, all for pay what you want on on Drive-Thru RPG right now. So if you want to check out The Dark Eye, if you've never seen it before, this is a great chance to see what it has to offer. For me, I'm pretty new to The Dark Eye. I've run the game one time, and I've done these solo play adventures, so I'm still learning. It's got a wealth of lore, and the system is pretty interesting. So, join me as we continue on through this adventure. We have our mage, and we are just hopefully hoping to graduate the Lowangen Academy of Transformation today. We went and we're about to go to our instructor's office so that we could take this test, and he's not answering the door. And so we've kind of gone around and tried to knock on the door. We've waited. We've gone around to try to look in a window. None of these things have really worked out for us. So we're resorting. We even tried to magically go in, and that didn't work. And so we magically tried to see through the wall again, which is very frowned upon at the school. But we did anyway because we've been waiting there for like an hour and nobody's come. So we tried it again, and we were successful this time. So we're going to see what we can see inside. So here we are, 216. Your mind feels swallowed by the wall, as if pressed through a keyhole that suddenly appeared in the stone. Then your awareness explodes into the Archmage's room. You've never been here before, and it takes you a moment to orient yourself. Magister Erlon's room is huge compared to your humble quarters. His opulent bed, covered with blue veils, sits on one side chamber, and you think you can see a cast iron bathtub in another side chamber. What a luxury. And this is not all. The room is dominated by an eye-catching piece of furniture, Archmage Eleron's huge, impressively carved desk, which sits between two 9-foot shelves stuffed with books and rolls of parchment. Only a true artist could have given form to the creatures carved into the desk's surface. You see a dragon, a cyclops, a demonic shroff, and a fantastic winged serpent, and many others. With the start, you realize the carved figures are moving. 2 armed dwarves wage an eternal struggle against a type of dragon called a wyvern. They advance and retreat several inches across the surface as they fight. Nearby, the winged serpent dodges several blasts of magic fire hurled by a mage. Then it lunges forward, fangs poised to strike, but the mage dodges nimbly and fires another blast of flame at the nimble serpent. Their scary, lifelike, and fascinating battle continues, and you must expend some effort to look away. Hanging on the wall, you see 3 long magic staves, one pitch black and shattered in the middle. Next to them, you see 2 crossed, slender ceremonial swords, their pommels shaped like roaring lion heads, and their crossguard shaped like lion paws. Most exciting of all is the polished ball that looks as if it was made of glass, filled with slow-moving gray fog. The ball rests on a 6-fingered hand and a scaly forearm that rises out of a dark gray column anchored to the stone floor. The only thing you do not see is Magister Erlon. You also do not see either of your 2 proctors, that inscrutable half-elf Magister Mela Moonhair and the Magister Brutum, whom most students secretly refer to as Mela's Shadow. Disappointed, you start to climb back when you notice something else. One of the carpets is askew. One corner is rolled up, and another is pushed up against the chairs. Magister Erlon's desk is messy, which seems out of place for a room that is otherwise so orderly. Then you spy other things that you did not notice before: a crushed piece of chocolate candy on the floor, an overturned vase, and a simple puddle that nobody bothered to wipe up. A row of books leaning at an unusual angle, and a shelf revealing 4 deep, almost parallel scratches in the wood. Something is wrong, you are certain. These are signs of a struggle, and someone has tried to hide the evidence. Who could have fought here? Nobody can enter Archmage Erlon's room without permission, so the mage must have admitted his attacker, or attackers, into the room. A thrill of danger runs down your spine. You feel like an agent of the Imperial Garethian Information Agency on a secret mission investigating a crime. What happened to Magister Erlon? You see no traces of blood. He may have been abducted, but whom could be so bold, and why? You need answers, but where to find them? Your exam is likely to be cancelled, which means you will not graduate today. Magister Moonhair would jump for joy if she knew. Wait, Magister Moonhair, your exam, it all fits. You have a suspect and a motive. Anger wells up inside of you, and you almost lose your footing. You quickly climb back through the stained glass window and return to the safety of the corridor, already planning your next move. You must find Magister Erlon and gather evidence against Magister Moonhair. Subtract 6 AE from your total and go to section 167. So AE is arcane energy, and I've already done so. So I had 26, and now I'm down to 20. All right, so we're going to go to 167. This is crazy. Instead of taking your exam and looking forward to graduation, here you are searching the halls of the school for clues to Magister Erlon's whereabouts. You fervently hope that this decision will not come back to haunt you, but you are determined to succeed, so you pause to consider your options. The wisest course of action would be to inform the teachers and let them handle it. Many of the school's students and instructors went into town today to celebrate the end of the school year, but some always remain behind. Venerable Magister Horrigan is probably in his office. Most students would approach him first, as he is competent, friendly, and trusting. Magister Immenfield probably stayed behind as well, but she is mistrustful and a stickler for the rules. You wonder whether she would help or make the situation worse. Seeking Magister Tienen's advice is more difficult but less risky. He's a brilliant theoretician, though he is even more unworldly than the elves, and his mind often seems to be someplace else. An unsympathetic person might call him insane. You never searched Magister Erlon's room, so a return trip might be in order, and of course, you might benefit if you search Magister Moonhair's and Magister Brutum's rooms. Maybe you could learn something about the Archmage's recent activities by asking the school's clerical and housekeeping staff. You could also try the teacher's lounge and dining hall or the courtyard. You doubt you could find any instructors in the attic or the cellar today, but if you did, they might have the information you seek. How would you know unless you try? Speaking of chances, you suddenly remember a potential witness who always turns up at the most inconvenient of times. Nivea, the school resident's house cat. Her animal instincts and razor-sharp senses let her perceive things that humans cannot. According to rumor, she is a former student who became trapped in an animal shape years ago. If this is true, she must be able to communicate with you. Of course, you can also retreat to your room to rest and consider your options, at least for a while. Sometimes the answer finds the seeker. Go to section 100 to make your decision. Well, there's a lot of stuff to do here. So if you are in the chat, looks like there's a few viewers. So welcome, viewers. Let's check out these options. So we can return to Magister Erlon's room to look at it again. We can visit Magister Moonhair, which we think she has something to do with it. So we can visit her room. We can visit Magister Brutum's room. We also think they have something to do with it because they were supposed to be there for our test. We can seek advice for Alchemicus Horrigan, who seemed to be someone nice that we might gain help from. We can seek advice for Magister Immerfield or Magister Tienen. They both seemed not likely. We can search for Nivea, which is the cat, and Nivea also saw us fail to look in the room at one time. We can visit the teacher's lounge to see who's there, search the dining hall, look at the cellar, the courtyard, or the attic, but they said that no one's supposed to be there at the moment. Who knows that? Who knows if anybody is there? And then we can also return to our room and just sort of hang out. So it says if you cross time off the last circle of the time tracker, go to section 111. And what that's talking about is over here, we have our character sheet and we have a time tracker. Oops, I guess it's not on that one. The time tracker is in this one. So we've got one time set off because we waited. And so if we do something else that tells us we need to go by the time or to advance the time, we'll go back there and click it. And I think we're on 167. So again, if you have any suggestions in the chat of what we want to do, let me know. Oops. Oh no, it's section 100 we are at. So what do you think? Should we return to the room and kind of see what else we can find there? Visit one of the magisters who were supposed to be there, seek advice from Horrigan or from one of the other magisters, search for the cat, look at, and then or search one of the locations. What do you guys think? Anyone in the chat, let me know what we should do. I'm kind of thinking we should go see this Alchemicus Horrigan. It seems like they might be able to give us some advice. If nobody has any other thoughts on that, I think that's what we're going to do. But you let me know what you think we should do. So far, our rolls in this game have not been good. Hopefully today we'll do better than we did on Friday. All right, I'm not really seeing anything in chat, so I'm going to go ahead and decide that we're going to go seek advice from Alchemicus Horrigan. 148. All right, so time by one. So we're going to click this little button and it will automatically add one to the time tracker. So as one of the friendliest and most respected mages in the academic community, Alchemicus Magister Horrigan is always willing to talk outside of class with his students. Even when not teaching, he prefers to spend his time in the cellar in the school's laboratories. Classes are over for the term, so both labs are empty when you arrive. Being here reminds you of all the times you stood at one of those stone-covered tables, performing experiments under the watchful eye of Magister Horrigan. The Magister insists that students obey safety precautions, but he knows that some students learn best by doing, not simply by listening. This divergent philosophy manifests in the appearance of the two school laboratories. On one hand, the teaching laboratory is clean and orderly, and numerous blackboards display important safety rules, such as always stand while working, always wash your hands upon entering and before leaving the room, and so on. After each lesson, two assistants would gather up unused alchemicae, sweep the floor, and thoroughly scrub the tables. By contrast, the research laboratory, which is smaller and separated from the teaching lab by a heavy door, is far less organized. The research lab's door stands open, and you can see a jumble of glass equipment piled on the tables. A small candle burns, heating a flask containing a viscous liquid. Obviously, somebody is ignoring the safety rules. No wonder students half-jokingly refer to the research lab as the realm of chaos. You recognize one of the glass assemblies from an experiment Alchemicus Horrigan assigns to all his first-year students. When you were a new student, your first lab lesson began with the Magister Horrigan warning about the great danger inherent in the experiment. Make one mistake, he said, and the whole device might blow up. Bang! For this reason, he explained, students had to remain at a safe distance. Next, he revealed a glass assembly holding two boiling liquids, one green, the other blue. The green liquid rose through the glass tube and dripped into the flask of the blue liquid, which sat above a larger flame. Steam rose from the blue-green compound, winding its way through more glass tubes, until it condensed into a clear distillate that the Magister collected in a bowl. At regular intervals, Magister Horrigan poured his distillate back into the flask of blue liquid. Surprisingly, the blue liquid never changed color. Everything the students knew about liquid concentrate and the combination of alchemical substances indicate the mixture should have become several shades lighter than when thinned. Instead, it unfailingly retained its deep, rich hue. For more than a week, you struggled and failed to explain the underlying reason for the result. You failed even to identify the two boiling liquids. Now that you think about it, the lab report deserved the disappointing grade of inadequate. Every student in the class received 1 or more weeks to revise their lab reports, and even though your second effort received a minimal passing grade, you remember the Magister shaking his head in disappointment as he returned your paper. Upon the conclusion of this lesson, Magister Horrigan ordered every student to remain silent about the experiment so as not to spoil a surprise for future classes. What are you doing here? A friendly voice asks, interrupting your reverie. Good morning, Master Horrigan, you state reflexively, as the Magister's round, smiling face and famously unruly white beard appears at the door to your research laboratory. Shouldn't you be attending your final exam, he asks? What do you say in response? My exam, postponed, but I have a question. Do you know where Magister Erelon is? Go to section 31. Or nobody showed up to administer my exam. Did Magister Erelon mention anything about it? Go to 186. Something terrible happened. I think someone abducted Magister Erelon. Go to 95. Or this may sound a little crazy, but I think Magister Moonhair abducted Magister Erelon. Go to 122. Yep, that looks like it. So, which do you think we should do? Should we just ask kind of plainly where the Magister is, where Erelon is? Should we tell him that nobody showed up, and see if he mentioned anything about it? Should we say that that something has happened, and somebody abducted him, or should we blame Magister Moonhair? What do you think, chat? If you're in chat, let me know what you think we should do. I'm kind of thinking we should, be a little bit sly. We should say something happened, but I don't know if we need to be blaming Magister Moonhair at the moment. What do you think? Let me know in the chat, and we will guide our mage. Once again, I'm kind of thinking we just kind of say that something happened, and then if it comes out that we looked in there, so be it. If not, all the better. I would assume it's going to come out because we weren't able to get in the room otherwise. It was locked. So, anybody in chat have any suggestions? All right. Well, I think we're going to go to say that something terrible has happened. All right, we're going to go to 95. If my mouse will help out. There we go. All right. Worry flickers across Magister Horrigan's face, and he asks you to have a seat in the research laboratory. Unlike the teaching laboratory, which is a model of the Magister's vision of order and safety, at least that which he teaches his students, this lab is quite messy. Stacks of heavy tomes lean precariously, threatening to topple over and to crush unwary passerby. Large cobwebs darken every corner, shelves groan under the weight of too many glass instruments, open containers of volatile alchemicae litter the room, and foul-smelling liquids drip from unintended spills on the tables. The Magister seats himself and then turns to face you. Go to section 209. Who would try such a deed, and more importantly, who could succeed? The alchemicus asks himself. You shrug with uncertainty, expecting Magister Horrigan to dismiss you altogether. Instead, he leans back and stares blankly over your shoulder in the direction of the teaching laboratory. Abducted, he mumbles quietly, lost in thought. Then his face lights up with childlike glee, the same way it does when one of his students discovers a correct answer, or when a complex experiment produces better than expected results. This is one reason why students love the old alchemist. Before you know it, he leaps off his seat, grabs you by the arm, and practically drags you to the teaching laboratory. Go to section 74. You stumble as you hurry to keep up with the mage, until he stops in front of the device of failure. Here he is. The experiment with the blue and green liquids. Oh, look, here's the blue and green liquids. That seemed to defy every rule of alchemy. The source of the worst grade of your career as a student in the Academy of Transformation. Do you remember your failure? The mage asks in a close to friendly tone. Of course, how should I ever forget this homework? You say, bitterness tinging your voice. Ah, well, I see. But what matters most is whether you understand the experiment now. You nod, but the mage isn't satisfied with a non-verbal reply. Explain, he says. You sigh. This failure brings back many unpleasant memories, but you must answer this question. Things were not as they seemed, you begin. Nobody could explain the results because you rigged the experiment. Yes, I did, Magister Horrigan says, laughing happily. Still bitter about the episode, you continue saying, there never were any blue or green liquids. You used only clear liquid. The beakers and tubing were made of colored glass, but you ordered us to stand on the other side of the room due to the alleged danger, so we couldn't see clearly. The mage's happy expression only fuels your irritation. You wrote a lab report, as I recall, he asked. Yes, we all spent a week writing our papers. And how long did it take you to write? Inadequate on all of them, Magister. Half an hour? True, all true, the mage said smugly, and you wonder how he ever became the most popular teacher in school. But you revised your report, he continues, resuming a serious tone. Only because you forced us to rewrite them, you say, still bitter. You came here seeking help, not humiliation. That lab experiment is my pride and joy, he laughs. Every student fails the first time around, and each must write a second paper. You correctly deduced that the experiment was fake. Well, the alchemical part at any rate. But here's the thing. That exercise was part of a larger experiment. A larger experiment? You think failure is an experiment? No, it's not about failure, but it's about character. The alchemicus wheezes, as if shouldering a heavy burden. You suddenly feel like a new student, small and frightened, seeing the school for the first time. The alchemicus notices this change in your demeanor and softens his tone. He straightens his back, standing up to his full height, and says, the second essay required no special knowledge of alchemy, physical laws, or the substances in the glass tubing. You think you wrote about your failure to deduce the workings of the experiment, but you mostly wrote about yourself. As I recall, you said something like, here the mage changes his voice to imitate yours as he recites from memory. The experiment is a deception meant to convince the naive that we can flaunt the rules of alchemy simply by mixing the right substances, trapped between fascination and the subject and mistakenly believing they witness a rare phenomenon. Victims of this deception soon think that any result is possible if one simply knows the right formula. This sublime feeling of elation eventually succumbs to the disappointing but inevitable conclusion, namely that some things are quite impossible. You try to speak, fighting the lump from forming in your throat. A moment later, you manage to say, You remember what I wrote? The magister nods eagerly, saying, I have taught 153 students. I would not recognize some of them today, and I do not know what became of them all, but I remember their names and I remember the words they wrote for that assignment. But why did you look so disappointed when you returned my paper? You stammer, surprised to discover your old wounds never healed. There are many ways to express yourself, even in a lab report. I read 153 highly personal essays. Some filled me with joy, some confirmed my suspicions, positive or negative, and some saddened me terribly. I disappointed you, you whisper, your voice barely audible. Then realization strikes you like lightning. How could you have been mistaken all these years? You stare into the green beakers, seeking courage. I was wrong, Master Horrigan, you confess. It may not be possible to break the rules of alchemy, but it is possible to fool 153 people with nothing more than cheap-colored glass. Yes, the experiment was rigged, but that does not excuse my behavior all these years. I should have known better. I also should have learned a second lesson. I should have learned. The Magister waits expectantly for you to continue. What do you say? Do we say that things are not always as they seem? Do we say that nobody is immune to manipulation? Or do we say that anything is possible, especially if you're willing to bend the rules a little? This is pretty interesting. I like this, it kind of tells us a history and what happened to us before. What are we taking from this story? Are we taking that things are not always what they seem, that nobody is immune to manipulation, or that anything is possible, especially if you're willing to bend the rules a little? I don't know. I think I'm going to hold off and let you all decide this one. So there's a few people watching. Please, if you're in here, say hello and give us, let us know what you think. What should we do? Should we say that things are not always as they seem, that nobody is immune to manipulation, or that anything is possible, especially if you're willing to bend the rules a little? I don't know. Kind of think, I don't know. I'm gonna wait for you before I give my my suggestion. What do you think, though? Freestyle HQ says anything is possible. All right, let's go with that. Let's see. Anything is possible, especially if you're willing to bend the rules, which we kind of did, so that kind of fits. 135. Master Horrigan stands up, beaming with pride, his eyes filling with tears of joy. Excellent, excellent, he says, laughing. Your mind is racing. Before today, nobody would believe Magister Erelon would ever miss an exam. There must be a reason, and you decide to find it. Though part of you worries a mere student is ill-equipped to face someone with the power to abduct an archmage. Thank you, Magister Horrigan. You have been most helpful, you say, rising from your seat. As you turn to leave, the Magister hands you a small phial containing a healing potion. When imbibed, it heals 1d6 plus 2 life points, up to your maximum of 29. All right, we got a healing potion. Healing potion, writing that down for 1d6 plus 2 life points. You thank him for the valuable gift as you exit. Who would have thought the worst homework assignment of your life would turn out so well? Record the vial in your inventory and go to section 100. All right, so we already sought advice from the Alchemicus. What do you think we should do now? I kind of feel like that we have this, and we know that we're saying anything is possible if you bend the rules a little. So I'm kind of feeling like we should go back to the room and see what's there, because we really didn't get a good look at everything. Or we could try to go to the to Magister Moonhair or Magister Bretham's rooms. They, we think they have something to do with it. Maybe we could go talk to one of the other Magisters. I don't know what we're gonna really get out of that. We could try to talk to Nivea the cat and see if it's really a student turned into a cat, or search one of the locations. Yeah, Freestyle HQ agrees that we should investigate the room first, so let's go do that. 164. Excuse me. So you return to Magister Erelon's room and knock, but nobody answers. If you try another option, go to section 100. If you wait for the Magister to return, go to section 55. Well, that didn't really do us any good. So looks like we're gonna have to go talk to somebody. We tried to wait before, so yeah, I don't think that was the right decision. So do we want to go see Moonhair and Bretham and see, maybe you can see what their excuses are and see if they really do have something to do with this. Or we can, I feel like we can talk to Nivea maybe. I don't know how we would do that though, but what do you think? Freestyle? Or anybody else in here? Moonhair? Yeah, that's what I'm kind of feeling too. All right, let's go see. So we're going to go to 197 to visit Moonhair's room. Even though you have never had reason to visit the Deputy Dean's room, you know it is near Archmage Erelon's room, and you quickly find it. Go to 118. So you stand in front of Magister Moonhair's room, listening for sounds of activity within. Nobody else is around. What do you do? Wait for Magister Moonhair to appear, knock on her door, try to peer through the keyhole, or gaze through the wall with the spell. I'm feeling like we need to be a little sneaky. I think I want to gaze. Yeah. Oh, you want to gaze all the way through with the spell. Oof, that's gonna be risky, but I like it. All right, let's do it. Let's see. My computer is being weird. Oh, there's my mouse. All right, 47. All right, here's one-time unit. You must admit that you are curious to see the Deputy Dean's room. You press your brow against the wall and recite incantations. Penetrezzel, Penetrezzel. Roll to cast a Penetrezzel. If you have less than 6 remaining AE, or if you fail, go to 94. If you succeed, go to 60. All right. We've got to make 3 checks here. Let's see. Our character sheet for Penetrezzel. Spells. Not here. Next one, maybe. Nope. There we go. Pen and Chisel. I hear 7, and it's courage, sagacity, and intuition. All right, so we're gonna go left to right. I got 4, 19, and 16. Sagacity is 15, so we need 4. So we have 3 left, and our intuition is 14, and we had 16, so that was 2 points under. So we are, or 2 points over. So we still have 1 skill rating left, so we succeed. All right. So we gotta subtract the 6 arcane energy, so we're now at 14. All right, so we succeed. We go to 60. Your mind cuts through the stone like a fish moving through water. Then your awareness expands, and you can see inside Magister Moonhair's room, as if you stepped through the wall. Precious little light enters through the gaps around the window shutters. All you can see are dim outlines of a wardrobe, a large table, 4 chairs, and a closed door on the other side of the room. The room's details remain hidden. Disappointment fills you, as you always imagine the Magister's room to be much more interesting. But Pen and Chisel only shows what is there, not what you hope is there. Your concentration lapses, and your awareness flies back through the wall to your body. You pause to catch your breath and sit blinking in the bright corridor for a few moments. We subtract 6 from your AE total, which we did, and return to section 118. All right, so we are again standing in front of Magister Moonhair's room. Do we want to wait for her, knock on the door, or try to peer through the keyhole? I mean, we kind of already peered through, so I don't know if we're going to get there. If we knock through the door, there was another room that was closed. So maybe she was in there. Or we can just go back to 100. Yeah, knock. That's what I'm thinking too. All right, knock on her door. You knock on the door several times, but nobody answers. Well, go back to 118. All right, well, here we are. Wait for the Magister to appear. I don't know if we really want to do that. Peer through the keyhole or go back to 100. I mean, we're here. Let's just see if there's maybe something else. I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to go for 154. You kneel and peer through the lock. Inside the room, it's dark, and all you see is the outline of a chair and part of a table. At least you didn't lose an eye. And you certainly did not see a demon staring back at you. Neither event would have surprised you, considering who lives in this room. Return to 118. All right. So here we are. I guess we're going back to 100. All right. So we can now go to Bertram's room. We can see one of the other Magisters. We can search for Nivea, or we can go to a location. What are you thinking, Freestyle? Freestyle asks, where is everyone? I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. Where are you at, Freestyle? And what should we do? Sure. So the Freestyle is asking for a super quick synopsis. So basically, we're a mage at this Lowangen Academy of Transformation, and today was supposed to be our day we graduate, and so we were supposed to have a test. We went to Magister Erlon's office, but nobody answered. We waited there for like an hour, nothing happened, and we used our pen and chisel spell, the one we just used a moment ago, to look into his office, and it was very messy, and things seemed like he would not leave it, and so we think he was abducted. We also think that Magistra Moonhair had something to do with it, because she doesn't apparently really like us, and so somehow we think she had something to do with it, although I'm not sure why. And Magister Brutum was supposed to be there as well, but he wasn't there. So we still don't know where Magister Erlon is. We think he was abducted, and that's basically all we know right now. And Alchemicus Horrigan, who we just talked to, kind of encouraged us to investigate more. So I'm kind of feeling like we should go see Magister Brutum to see what he has to say and why he wasn't there. So let's go do that. We're going to go to 9. to visit Magister Bretum's room. All right, Magister Bretum occupies a special place within the school. Barely 30 years old, he is the school's youngest teacher. He specializes in the paralysis research. While not well regarded in the academy, this spell is quite popular with students, as most know at least one person they think deserves to spend their time as a statue. You can think of one such person right now, Magister Bretum, and many students would agree with you. Unlike Magister Horrigan, a stern but fair teacher, Magister Bretum fails to inspire. He acts casually and pretends to be everyone's friend until he turns on them. New students find this behavior entertaining, but they soon recognize the deception. Though not as stern as other teachers, Bretum is unpredictable, except when in the company of Magister Moonhair, that is. His affection for her is the worst-kept secret in the school. You cringe just thinking about it, and you're almost glad that his door is closed when you arrive. So they call her also, where his, they give him a nickname of Moonhair's Shadow. Go to 64. So you're standing in front of Magister Bretum's door. Nobody else is around. A stone bench sits to one side of the door. What do? Do we wait patiently? Do we knock on the door? Do we try to look through the keyhole? Or do we cast a spell again? So we're kind of running low, and we've only got 14 more points. I don't know. Knock, you think? All right, yeah. Let's try to knock. All right, we're knocking on the door. You knock, but there's no response. If he is home, he does not want to open the door. All right, we're going back. Keyhole, I guess, huh? Let's look through the keyhole. 156. Like any other door to a teacher's office or private room, this door has a keyhole, but you cannot see through it. A stone-like substance blocks it completely. You do not know how Magister Bretum bypasses it to unlock his door, but you have seen crazier things than these walls. It is certainly a good deterrent. Go to 64. So do we wait, or do we return to section 100? What do you think? Was there a cat character? Yeah, so the cat character, Nivea is like the school's cat, and there's rumors that Nivea used to be a student that miscast a spell and was turned into a cat. We don't know if that's true, but Nivea also watched us the first time that we tried to do Penetrezzle on Lowanger's room, on Erlon's room. He saw us. The cat saw us casting the spell. So that's why in section 100 there is a section to go talk to the cat. So, all right. So let's go back, and we want to track down the cat. Let's see. Search for Nivea. All right. We're going to hit our time increment. Now that you need to find Nivea the cat, she is nowhere to be seen. Eventually, you spot her on the third floor, curled up on the top of a bale of cloth next to the tailor's door. As you approach, she rotates an ear in your direction and then slowly raises her head, as if trying to decide whether you deserve an audience. For a few seconds, her green eyes stare at you with an intelligence that reminds you of the rumors of her true nature. But then she stretches and rolls onto her back, batting at the air with one paw. If only Nivea could talk, you are certain that she could lead you to Archmage Erlon. Students and magisters alike have tried to reverse Nivea's supposed transformation countless times through the years. Their failures are a sad yet colorful chapter in the school's history. But all hope is not lost. Sometimes Nivea reacts to simple sentences and seems to understand every word, as if she really is a human trapped in animal form. You cannot change her into something capable of speech like a parrot, but you can try to change her into a cat. But you can try changing yourself into a cat. If you try simply speaking to the cat, go to section 62. Casting a salamander or wolf paw spell to transform yourself into a cat requires at least 16 AE or 12 AE, that's arcane energy, respectively. Also, while transformed, your experiences are dreamlike and difficult to recall after the spell expires. But if you try this more daring plan, go to section 37. So we have the points for Wolf's Paw. If you choose to not disturb the cat, do the following. Erase the mark you place on the time tracker When you arrive at this section, return to section 100 and erase the mark in front of the option to look for Nivea. At least now you know where to find her if the need arises again. So basically, we can just try to talk to her, or we can try to cast a spell. And we're running real low. We could do the Wolf's Paw. I'm not really sure what that spell does. Let's see if it's indicated here. Over here, we do have Wolf Paw. It's 8 AE plus 4 AE per hour. Let's see if it tells us what it does here. Okay, it does. Wolf Paw. Choose either Salamander or Wolf Paw, which we have. The spell transforms the target into the shape of a smaller creature. A human could become a cat or a dog, but not a horse, for example. Upon changing, the target gains the chosen animal's stats. Salamander costs more to AE to cast, but maintains the target's original life points after transformation, regardless of the animal shape. Wolfpaw costs less AE, but limits the target's life points and other stats to those of the chosen animal. So we can turn into a wolf, which I don't know if that's a great idea either. Into a... would that let us talk to the cat? I don't know. Yeah, try to talk to a regular. I agree. Let's see if she responds. Oh. Looks like this link isn't an actual link. All right, so section 62. One second. I just got to find it over here in the bookmarks. 62. Nivea watches you suspiciously as you sit down near her. Make a check on animal lore. If you have some slices of sausage, sweeten the offer. Make the check as is. If not, apply a -4 penalty. If you fancy yourself a cat whisperer, go to section 95. If you're more of a dog person, go to section 6. Go to section 7. I mean, I don't know if that means. Is that saying if we succeeded, then we go to 195, and if we failed, go to 7? I'm not sure what that exactly means. Or if it's just in general. I mean, I guess we're a cat whisperer. Let's see, 195. Nivea lets you rub her belly. Then she rolls around and looks at you expectantly. Again, you feel like you're looking into human eyes. You have Nivea's attention. If you ask, where can I find Magister Erelon, go to section 49. If you ask, where is Magister Moonhair, go to section 130. If you ask, where is Magister Moonhair and Magister Erelon, go to 109. So I don't know if we really needed to make that roll, or if we were supposed to, and that was the result. But the cat displays a look of human eyes. I think it was just trying to say that it kind of looked at you like it was understanding. I don't think it literally had human eyes. But what should we do? Should we ask her where we can find Erelon, Moonhair, or both of them? What do you think, Freestyle? I think you were supposed to make the check first. Yeah, but it didn't really tell us what happens if we failed or succeeded. Or is that what the cat person or dog person result was? It didn't really say. It wasn't clear. So I just went with the question. I'll ask Tayo. Ask where both are. All right, let's do that. 109. Here's a time unit. Nivea's ear twitches as she listens to your question. Then she jumps down from the bale of cloth that serves as her throne, and runs off through the hallways. You have trouble following her because she takes shortcuts beneath furniture and sometimes climbs a tall shelf and makes a daring leap for no discernible reason at all. You follow the cat up and down many flights of stairs, all the way to the cellar. Nivea runs straight towards an intersection of hallways, slows to a walk, and then stops, pricking up her ears. She raises her head and tenses her muscles, fixing her gaze on something, a wardrobe, or something beneath it. Suddenly she lunges at whatever's lurking there. 2 mice flee for their lives in opposite directions, squeaking shrilly. At first you think both will escape, but the cat appears a moment later and catches one of the hapless rodents in her paw. She strikes it 3 times and then bites down hard on its neck. Fascinated and disgusted by the spectacle, you watch as Nivea swiftly dispatches her prey. Satisfied that it will not run off, she turns and races after the other mouse. You examine the bloodied mouse. Why did you think Nivea could lead you to Master Erelon? Disappointed, you debate your next move. Return to 100. Uh-oh. This is not looking good. What do you think we should do now? So we can go see one of the other magisters or magistras. We can go check out, different places. I guess we're kind of already in the cellar. Should we look around in the cellar? This was also where the laboratories were. But it seems to be where we're at right now. I say we do that. Let's search the cellar. That's where we're kind of at. Here's another time increment. You cannot imagine an abductor hiding Archmage Erelon in the cellar. Villains like to have multiple escape routes. And the cellar has only one way in or out, namely a lone staircase to the first floor. Freestyle says, cellar first, teacher's lounge second. However, people act in all manner of... and the cellar has only one way in or out, namely, a lone staircase to the first floor. However, people act in all manner of irrational ways, so perhaps you should take at least a quick look around. You light a candle and follow the stairs to the cellar. This floor is silent, and most students and teachers went into town for the day. You expect to meet only the alchemicus, Magister Horrigan, puttering around in his laboratory classrooms. You head there first, but those rooms are vacant. This looks like the cellar here. You backtrack to the stairs and continue west along the corridor. The doors for both the small and large ritual rooms stand open. You see these rooms and the connected storage room are vacant. Nearby, other storage rooms for food and other consumables are also vacant. You know these rooms well from your duties over the years. You spend many hours here taking inventory or fetching items from various crates, chests, vials, sacks, and barrels. One door sends shivers down your spine. The room beyond contains a large pool for practicing the spell Breathe Water, a spell you have not yet learned. You try to suppress an image of Magister Erelon's face down in the water as you open the door and peer inside. To your relief, the room is vacant, and the same is true for the bathing room and the laundry with its connected storage room. You really seem to be alone down here. A bit disappointed, you sit back down on a pile of shattered brick, debris left after workers excavated an old walled-off door last year. You look at the brick. You look at the thick oak portal, which students jokingly refer to as the Forbidden Door. The faculty hoped it concealed hidden knowledge, but a flood collapsed the corridor behind the door, ending plans to explore what lies beyond. Magister Erelon placed a magic lock upon the door and proclaimed it off-limits, but this only fueled students' curiosity and resulted in no end of mischief. Eventually, the door earned its ominous nickname. For unknown reasons, nobody tried to wall it off again. You suddenly view the Forbidden Door as a symbol of your failure. For centuries, nobody bothered to explore what lies beyond. When people finally wanted to try, however, no amount of expectation or enthusiasm could prevent their failure. Just like your search for Magister Erelon. No, you do not accept that. You do not fail, and you will not give up. But the cellar has nothing more to offer. Return to 100. Alright, Freestyle suggested the cellar first, and then the teacher's lounge. Alright, let's go check that out. Visit the teacher's lounge, 107. How often have students found themselves standing outside the imposing door of the teacher's lounge with their hearts pounding? Everyone knows only teachers may enter this room, and teachers do not like to be disturbed for petty reasons. All solicitors must address the eerie face carved into the door and ask clearly and politely whether the mage they seek resides within. The door always answers in a creaky voice that matches its wooden visage. Instead of wading through the list of teachers to find one who might be there, you decide simply to ask if anyone is inside. The door reply is simple, but sounds no less terrifying. No, it wails. You suppose finding the Archmage here would have been too convenient. Disappointing, you try another option. Return to 100. Well, Freestyle, what do you think? The dining hall? Alright. Looks like there's two options here, so that's interesting. So the first time, we're going to 25. Yeah, the school is vacant. Except for two maids clearing away dishes and a young student with boil-covered skin sitting alone at one of the dining hall's long tables, the room is unoccupied. If you ask the maids for news of Magister Erlon, or Magister Moonhair, go to 187. If you ask the student, go to 206. If you decide not to bother anyone, return to 100. Should we ask the maids or the student? What do you think, Freestyle? The maids? Yeah. All right. 187. Here's our time clock. My mouse is being weird. There we go. The maids do not react when you enter the large room. You know little about them beyond their names, Altuna and Bernia, and that they are twin sisters. They are about the same age as you, and you know they started working at the school last winter. You've had little to do with them so far, but the rumors about the beautiful twins have painted a very clear picture. You have heard they worship the love goddess Raja, and allegedly both are very passionate to pursue the goal of securing a well-situated future, mostly in the beds of older studiosi. Well, you're still wondering if you're really the only one who never felt like joining the courtship of one of them. They're already taking notice of you, clenching their lips vigorously to provoke a stronger red. Altuna plucks her dress down to emphasize her lush cleavage, while Brianna strives to achieve the same effect by perkily heaving her breasts upwards. Handsome man, is there something we can assist you with? Asks Bernia, while Altuna winks at you with her eyes and has a broad faux smile on her lavish lips. Inevitably, you feel the heat rise in your face as the two move even closer. You're getting more and more uncomfortable. Well, you stammer as Altuna puts her right hand on your arm. The two are giggling and your face is burning like fire. I like it when men are coy, whispers Birna softly. Altuna gives you a passionate look. Then her sister continues. Whatever we can do to help you with, I'm sure we can do it a lot better in our room. You try to swallow, but your throat is dry. What kind of situation did you just stumble into? You've never had anything to do with the ladies in the manner suggested to you. You feel pressured and insecure. The offer is tempting, and the rising and falling breasts in front of you underline it with every breath. But you also know that this should not be the time to do it, and you also have the very plausible concern that you might be the butt of a nasty joke here. Why are the two trying so hard to seduce you? There is to be some evil ulterior motive, or are Fex and Raja just blessing your way? Come on, urged Altuna. We only bite a little. Then she takes your hand and leads you on. Are you following her? Go to section 6. Or are you pulling your hand away and bringing some distance between you and the two? Go to section 134. Am I one of the writers or creators? Nope, I did not write or create this at all. I am just playing it. I've never read this, just like you. Well, maybe just like you. Roll for composure, right? Exactly. So, should we follow them or kind of pull away and see what's next? You know, we kind of have another job here. We're kind of looking for the Magister. And if they do have something ulterior, I don't know if us being alone with them is the right call either. I don't know. What do you think, Freestyle? We've only got a couple minutes left on this stream. Let's see where it takes us. Well, we only have two options. So we either follow them or we pull away. Well, this, being a solo adventure, technically, even though there's a couple of us playing, we've only got these two options. Were it an RPG, you could have like a regular RPG. You could do multiple things, which is really why I love RPGs. You can have lots of choices. Let's go ahead and follow. All right, let's see. Ooh, time +3. Wow, this is a time sink. Setting aside any doubts, you follow the twins back to their room and get a glance at many pleasures the goddess Raja bestows upon her followers. You don't think you will ever forget Altuna and Birna, even if you can hardly remember what exactly you have experienced. It felt like your state of ecstasy lasted for an eternity. When you finally leave the chamber, the end of your menage a trois stays very clear in your mind. While you are slightly dizzy, straightening your clothes, you still hear the angry bickering of the two. You feel a bit guilty that the harmonious encounter ended in a quarrel. You'd only asked as soon as you rested for a moment and regained your senses whether one of them had seen Magister Erlon or Magister Moonhair. They replied they did not see Magister Erlon today. Then, strangely, they began to argue about whether they saw Magister Moonhair. Well, there, I guess that tells us what happened. Both sisters agreed that they observed the Magistra in the dining hall at breakfast. Altuna said she later saw Magister Moonhair in the attic, but Björna insisted that Altuna had not been near the attic all day. Björna added that she met Magister Moonhair in the cellar while retrieving flour from a storage room. Both sisters then accused each other of lying. The disagreement escalated from there. Each of them accused the other of trying to look more favorable in your eyes, as if you would like to marry a liar. While you were worried about this aspect in the light of a Travia bond, you congratulate yourself on getting to the bottom of the rumors. Even though you were admonished to concentrate on fighting Magister Erlon again, you find yourself hoping that the two sisters will soon get along again. Return to section 100. So that's interesting. Yeah, so we learned that, they saw the attic and the cellar. So we've already searched the cellar. I don't know if the attic was an option, but here we go, back to 100. And what is the Travia bond? I don't know what that is. Going back to 100, yeah, the attic is an option. But I think we're going to call it there for today. And we're at section 100. I'm going to cross that out. I'm at section 100. And I'm really looking hard at the attic. So you can come back next Wednesday. So in 2 days, come back in 2 days at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we will see what is in the attic. So Freestyle, thanks for joining us. You asked, what's my affiliation with Ulysses? So my name is Robert Adducci, and I am the social media manager for Ulysses. So I just started at the beginning of the year here, and due to all of the, a lot of people being stuck at home, we are pushing out a lot more video content. So this is my contribution. If you want to go to the Twitch channel or to YouTube, you can see I also ran through the Vampire of Havana, which is the other solo play adventure. So go check that out. And you will come back Wednesday, and we will do part 3 of Conspiracy of Mages. So thank you everyone for joining. I also just recently put out a blog post called Streams and More Streams, where we talk about all the streams that are coming out and that we're doing right now. There's Fading Sun streams. There's 2 of them. One's an actual play, and one is a chat show with Bill Bridges and Andrew Greenberg, the co-creators of Fading Suns. We're also doing an Aventuria, the adventure card game solo play. So please check that out. We're doing Myth Tales of Legend, which is the new Myth role-playing game that we're going to be putting out hopefully later this year. And you can talk to the creators, or you can listen to the creators of that, chat about that. We're also going to be putting out some Torg content soon, and hopefully some other shows. So go check those out on our Twitch and YouTube channels, and check that out, the article out on the website, ulysses-us.com. So thank you everybody for coming, and Freestyle HQ, thank you for participating. We'll see you guys on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Bye-bye.